What is up, guys? Welcome back to Bass Fishing Declassified, and in today's video our team is about to share mistakes they see anglers make throwing the lipless crankbait. Guys, I was one of these anglers for a long time, and happy for us to help you out potentially with some of these mistakes and to go out there and catch more fish with a lipless crankbait.
Hey guys, Kyle Cordion here, Bass Fishing Declassified. Today's video, we're going to talk about a common mistake that I see when fishing the lipless crankbait. Booyah one knocker, the Booyah hard knocker. A real common mistake I see is it's the speed of retrieve, but more importantly, it's making sure to make contact with your structure, the structure that's going to get those fish to bite. Whether it's grass and you want to be ticking the tops of the grass, might be brush. You might want to make sure you're getting right at the top of the tree, ticking the tree. It might even be rock. You might even be working this on a rock bottom. Either way, making sure you make contact with your structure is the most important thing I can tell you. I see the common mistake. Throw it out there, just wind it back. Sometimes you might catch one, but you're not going to catch as many fish if you're ticking it. So I'm going to throw a couple of videos in here of a couple of fish catches. The first one, I got the rod tip down. I'm winding it pretty steady. I've got a little bit deeper structure, so by putting the rod tip down and winding that way, I'm getting my one knocker a little bit deeper. In the winter months, I'm going to throw the one knocker instead of the hard knocker. Easy way to tell that, it's got that little Circle K on the tail. That means you got the one knocker. If you got one that doesn't have a Circle K on it, that's the hard knocker. The difference is hard knocker's got a lot of rattles. One knocker, one knocker. There it is. So easy way to see it or listen to it and hear it. But rod tip's down, I'm winding that back. I'm hitting a little bit deeper grass with that particular cast, but I'm still ticking the grass, and I'm pulling it, knocking it free until that fish either loads up on it, and that one actually hit it pretty hard. The other scenario, I'm in a lot shallower grass, so I got my rod tip up. Again, the speed of the retrieve is all dictated by making sure I feel that I'm making contact with the structure. And I'm making contact with the grass by having the rod tip up, keeping the retrieve, popping it out of the grass, and then a good 4-pounder eats that one knocker. So speed of retrieve, so important. Lots of different colors. I'm going to show you my 3 favorite colors to have in the winter months, and it's really pretty simple. They got gold shiner. Again, I'm going to throw it in the one knocker in the winter months. As it warms up, I'll go to the hard knocker. Gold shiner, almost always going to throw a 1/2 ounce. If I need it to run a little bit shallower and stuff, I'll go with that 1/4 ounce, or the fish are really finicky. Sometimes that 1/4 ounce gets them to bite. You got to have the Rayburn Red one knocker. The fish will knock the eyes right out of it. So you got that one. And then if you want to get something that not everybody has, check out their graffiti craw lineup. They got a bunch of cool colors in this graffiti craw, and they've got it with orange bellies, chartreuse bellies, red bellies. Anyway, that's a cool another color, and the hooks are tacky. They're hanging on my finger. Those are my 3 favorite colors. As far as the setup goes, I always put my treble hook baits in the bait sack over at tackleworks.com. It's really nice, convenient. You just pop it right off the rod. And if you're not in the house, you don't hit the ceiling. But the bait just comes right out of there. I can't even put the rod tip up in there to show you. But the bait comes right out and slips it right back in. The rod, reel, setup. I'm throwing 15 to 17 pound fluorocarbon most of the time. I might get away with 20 if it's real big fish, real heavy cover. I'm going to throw it on a 7.3 or 7.6 Kistler medium heavy, either a helium or a Kalex. Those are my 2 favorite lineups. 7.3 to 1 gear ratio. Again, the retrieve is important only because it dictates whether or not you make contact with that structure. So keep the rod tip up when it's real shallow. Put the rod tip down. Slow your retrieve if you got deeper structure you're making contact with. You're going to catch a lot more fish that way. Hope it helps. See you guys in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, lurenet.com, Cordiana15. Get all your Booyah one knockers and hard knockers for 15% off. Later.
All right, everybody. One of the best baits in January has to be a lipless crankbait. It's definitely a favorite for many lakes around the country, especially if you've got a shallow lake that still has a lot of grass during the wintertime. The lipless crankbait just cannot be beat. Or, you know, there's not many things that can beat a lipless crankbait this time of year for fishing around the grass. But I see people make a big mistake when they're fishing lipless crankbaits around grass. You know, the old mindset when it comes to fishing crankbaits is that you want to pair a crankbait with some type of rod that has a parabolic bend. Maybe it's a composite rod. You know, fiberglass really isn't a thing anymore, like 100% fiberglass. You don't see that very much, but composite rods are very popular for crankbaits. I still use composite rods for my deep diving crankbaits and a lot of my, you know, moderate diving crankbaits, but I'm a big big believer in 100% graphite for fishing shallow, especially fishing around grass with lipless crankbaits. It's actually the same rod I use for my chatterbaits and my spinnerbaits. And the reason why I like a 100% graphite rod, a medium heavy, this is a 7.3 medium heavy Versa series from Fitzgerald. The reason I like this one is because when you're fishing around the grass, there's nothing that can irritate me more than fishing a lipless crankbait around grass and not being able to free my bait of that grass when I rip it because my rod is too whippy. So I like to fish this faster action rod that has a better backbone or a stronger backbone to it with my lipless crankbaits because it makes me more efficient in the grass, but also it allows me to lead big fish away from thick cover when I do get a strike. And also I feel like the responsiveness of a 100% graphite rod with a stronger backbone also gives me more sensitivity and also helps me detect the bite even better, because a lot of times I'm yo-yoing this bait through grass, and with a rod that is a little less, it transmits less feel to the reel handle. It's kind of hard to detect those strikes in the grass. But with a graphite rod, I'm really feeling everything, and I know exactly what's going on with this bait, and I can catch up with fish a lot quicker. When I go to set the rod, set the hook, because the rod doesn't bend all that much. So to get to the maximum hook setting power, I don't have to go as far. But anyways, that is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when it comes to lipless crankbaits. So if you're having a hard time feeling the bait, knowing exactly what's going on, ripping it out of the cover, and also getting good hook sets with lipless crankbaits, try a medium heavy 100% graphite rod.
Okay guys, Jimmy Easterling here, also go by Coach E, and I know I've made a lot of videos on lipless crankbait in the winter, but I'm going to kind of, each time I do one of these, I don't always want to share the same, tips. So I'm going to try to share something kind of a little different in a new way for if you're a new angler or if you just struggle throwing these guys. So you've already heard two parts in the videos, or two segments, talk about grass. I'm not going to talk about grass, okay? That's a whole different deal. We're going to talk about fishing rock and then maybe wood, stumps, timber. But with that, guys, to get better at this, okay, you do have to fish, okay? There's a part of the trolling motor right here, having your trolling motor on high and fishing and finding fish and making a lot of casts. That's true to it. Now, one thing too though is fishing high percentage areas for helping you guys out if you struggle. Jimmy, well, what's a high percentage area? Well, if we're talking rock, and let's say you're fishing a whole rock bank, okay? It could be the mouth of a creek, middle of a creek, it could be a cove. Try to look for a rock change. Just look for a simple rock transition. And it might not even just be the whole bank. It can be, it can be off points. It can be kind of in ditches, and the ditches in between the points. Now, one thing too, now let's say you are fishing more of a bank though. If there are stumps up there and there is stuff under the water, off of the around the rock, that right there is another high percentage deal. 2 pieces of cover. I know lakes I've fished and done really well with these lipless crankbaits. It could be a rock bank, but there are stumps up there. There's wood, and them fish are there's 2 pieces of cover is better than one. And when there's a big rock bank and you have wood, that's the difference there. That's just another different. So, and how you find these woods could be when the lake gets drawn down, or if there's a Google Earth image, that's a whole nother deal as well. Now with this too, guys, on these high percentage areas, we're going to be fishing shallow. Stained water is what I prefer. It could be muddy, but right now, I know if you see snow on the ground and with all the runoff from the snow going to make it muddy, that's going to be cold, muddy. It's going to be pretty cold, and that might be a little harder, okay? But it can happen. I'm just saying it's going to be tougher with the conditions we're about to have. I know where I'm at here. But guys, try to target fish less than 10 foot, okay? And that's where, sometimes it's going to be, guys, 2 to 5 foot. It could be 2 to 7 foot, 2 to 8 foot, 4 to 8 foot. But you're going to be targeting shallower fish, okay? So Highland Reservoir Lake is going to be your river sections, your creeks. Excuse me, guys, I'm over here burping. Your major creeks. But look for those high percentage areas of a rock change, okay? And then there are times, guys, during fishing trips, if you get 2 fish catches on a type of rock, let's say it is a chunk rock to a pea gravel, or it's a pea gravel, or it's more of this kind of, you know, baseball size rock, or it can be, I'm trying to think of the other name of a rock. There's one rock I like to throw at. If it hits me, I'll come back. I can't think of the name. I'm looking at it, not like literally, but in my head I'm looking at it. But if you get like 2 fish catches or 2 bites, that can be something you can run the rest of the day, is targeting that type of rock, okay? Now, one more thing with lipless crankbaits. This was just me and just in the lakes I fish. I know a lot of people like pick what size, okay? These are Spro Aruka shads. Guys that know me, I throw everything, okay? I throw every trap there probably is. So this right here is kind of more of a 1/2 ounce size. This right here is at 3/4 size. It's really kind of typical with the traps, okay? I really think this is 5/8, but I'm just, you know, saying it goes 1/2 or 3/4. I prefer starting off for a new angler throwing the 1/2. The 1/2 smaller, it gets more bites, and it's, with it being kind of smaller in size, you can, in my opinion, be more accurate casting this at times, okay? You can cast this guy farther, but this one, just with it kind of getting, you know, less in the wind and stuff, you can be more accurate. But the 1/2 ounce gets me more bites. Now, there are lakes, I mean, I even fish lakes, they want that 3/4. But from experience, the 1/2 ounce is going to get more bites. And guys, I've caught plenty of 6 to 7 pound bass on a 1/2 ounce. Now, my Texas guys, yeah, I know Rayburn, they love a 3/4. Toledo, 3/4. But they're, you know, but for my new anglers, okay, if you want to start off with the 1/2, I've had a lot of anglers ask me 1/2 or 3/4. Start off with the 1/2, okay? Guys, appreciate it. Let's go see what Randy has to say on mistakes he sees anglers make.
Hey guys, and welcome back here to another edition of Bass Fishing Declassified. Really appreciate you guys joining us for today's video. And we're going to be talking about some common mistakes people make fishing lipless crankbaits today. Now, lipless crankbaits, guys, have been around forever. They're one of my favorite lures to fish. And as a matter of fact, the biggest limit of fish I ever caught in my life in one day was on a lipless crankbait in March down at Lake Murray about 25 years ago. So you can catch some really big fish on them. And what I want to do is I sort of want to tell you a little bit from my experience, some common mistakes, things that work for me to help you guys catch some more fish on it. Now, my favorite lipless crankbait, guys, this is the Mega Bass Vibration X. This is the one that I use most of the time. And the reason that I like this bait is because of the attention to detail on it, as you can see, and the fact that it falls really nice. And that is the point of the video I want to talk about here. Is the most common mistake I see a lot of anglers make with a lipless crankbait is they simply throw it out there and just reel it in. Just, you know, and they use the vibration of the lipless crankbait to generate strikes. And yeah, you can catch fish doing that. That is a good way to catch fish, like reeling it straight over the top of submergent grass or just in shallow water. You can catch fish doing that. But the biggest mistake that I see is people don't vary the retrieves in it. Now, the best way that I like to fish a lipless crankbait by far is what I call the pumping motion, where I throw the lipless crankbait out there, I let it fall to the desired depth zone. Sometimes it could be 2 feet, maybe 20 foot. Let it hit the bottom, and once it hits the bottom, I just pump it just like that. Reel it up, pump it about 2 feet, let it fall back down, pump it like that. So the lipless crankbait is falling down like this, hits the bottom, and you pump it, it goes up like that, and then it just slow falls down, pump it up like that, slow falls down. And most of the time, there's 2 different ways they bite it. One time is you'll pump it up like that, and as it's falling down, you'll just see your line tick when they've got it. Or sometimes when you pump it up, they'll hit it on the way up and just grab it like that. But I've used that technique as far as the pumping the lipless crankbait all over the country, guys. I've used it in Florida, I've used it in Texas, Tennessee, here in the Ozarks. It's a really, really good way of catching them. And when I caught that big bag at Lake Murray, that's exactly what I was doing. I was throwing it out there and I was just pumping it up maybe 6 inches off the bottom, keeping it close to the bottom. So don't get locked in. The point of the video, guys, don't get locked in just to throwing these things out there and just reeling them straight in. So, because why? That will catch fish when the fish are aggressive and in that mode. You can really maximize the effectiveness of a lipless crankbait by learning to pump it, let it fall back down and pump it again. It really is a good way to catch them on it. So hope it helps out. We'll see you guys next time.